Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Decked Up, a Steam Deck Gaming and Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Mikhail Casanova. I'm back at it. I know I'm a day late. We're getting this episode out because typically I try to do these episodes every single Monday and every single Friday. But this past weekend, things came up that were the reason that I wasn't able to get this out on Monday. And main one being that, on Saturday, ended up doing a photo shoot with my wife. So, I'm wearing these headphones right now. These are the Turtle Beach, like the Stealth Pros. Yeah. So I should know this, but like, yeah, a lot happened this weekend. So the Stealth Pros, so I have these on my head. My review will be coming out in a couple of days. On top of that, I've also got the Stealth 600 Gen 2 Max. Now, these are not necessarily new. These are what my wife likes to use. And also because, she just recently got sponsored by Turtle Beach, Neat Microphones, as well as Rocket. I'm already sponsored by them. So we wanted to do our photo shoot to promote the brand, the items. So we went around the island um, to various beaches to be able to get footage, b-roll footage for the, she's going to do her unboxing videos and reviews of the stuff, and I need to get various things, for this headset that I'm working on. So that's what that was, and that was all day Saturday, and trying to do that with a toddler who is just, she's on the set schedule. Once like 1 o'clock she wants to go to sleep, but we're out until like 3, 4 o'clock, and she's just throwing tantrums. So, that was already difficult. And then we also had to deal with the following day. So, the following day, I ended up being invited by Kenan Thompson and Sheree Buchanan, as well as the Hardrock Cafe. Now, you guys know Kenan Thompson as the, actor from Saturday Night Live, as well as from Keenan and Kel, Good Burger movie, as well as being, if you're my age or a little bit older, you probably remember watching All That. That was a show back in the day where, he was a child star and that's how he got started. So that, I got invited to that. And that was actually pretty cool being able to go there. And, it was the first time that, they've actually brought their show, which I'll go ahead and give a brief explanation of the show that they do. It's a talent search. It's called um, Keenan Presents Young Stars 360 Experience. And basically, they go to 12 cities every season. This is, I believe, the 12th year they've been doing it. They go to 12 cities. They find, young actors, or young child prodigies, and young adults that are able to like have major like talent and such. I already put up the podcast for that, which check it out on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mikhail Casanova. And I got to interview Sheree Buchanan because Keenan had to go, but yeah, I got to kick it with them, and it was really cool. Getting to see. I'm really happy that some local talent got signed, and the crazy thing about it is when it comes to like the talent, like they start work within like 2, 3 weeks. Like they immediately get gigs, like Disney Channel, Fox, ABC, all kinds of stuff, like Nickelodeon too. And it's really great. And I was really happy because a lot of the kids that got signed, like they just had such amazing talent and such supportive parents, and kind of makes me wish I had that when I was a kid because I was into singing, dancing, art, and my parents just never supported anything I wanted to do, and even to this day still don't. But I wish I had that and had opportunities like that when I was younger, and which is why I, with my kids, anything that they want to pursue, I kind of push it so that they can have those opportunities as well. But anyways, that was taken up. I want to say like we got there around like 10:30, 11:30 in the morning at the Hardrock Cafe down the street from our condo, and then from there we were there until like 5:30, I want to say. And then when we left, I had to go and pick up a new not a new that laptop, new desktop, because my my gaming laptop, my Asus ROG M16 2021 edition, completely died, and it died for the 5th time. Now I've had the motherboard replaced, had the graphics card, you know, replaced on that. Like basically, they had to, when they removed the motherboard first time, they had to change out the graphics card just within it, which was a 3060 mobile. And then they also had, what else? The Ethernet port stopped working. It was constantly so many different things with that laptop, and that was my, initially it was my secondary workstation, but it became my first, well, my primary workstation, just because I can't really, unless it's the weekend, I can't really be out in the the other room to work on my be at my primary station for like making content. I can't really be there because I've got her with me all day. So primarily I'm out here and I'm making content. And when that went down, I was kind of screwed. And while I do have these laptops that Acer, because they work with me a lot, these laptops that they sent me, there are limitations to what I can ultimately do with them. And I didn't want to bring out my big rig out here to work. So what I ended up doing when I got my refund, for that laptop, I immediately just went and got an M1 Mac Studio Max. And a lot of people have given me a lot of flack, like, oh, you should have, built a computer. Well, if you live out here in Hawaii, you already know that it's incredibly difficult to get parts as it is. And then you might have also people saying like, oh, you should have, you know, got a gaming desktop. I'm like, well, I'm not really going to be gaming on it, because when it comes to PC gaming, I got my rig in the bedroom, and I'm primarily going to be, gaming on my Steam Deck or my Switch or PlayStation 5 or, Xbox Series S and X. And I basically just run them into the capture card that I have here and just capture the footage out here, or, set them up back in the bedroom or in the other room and then capture it there. I don't need to game on this. I need to be able to work, to edit photo, video, do coding and all the other stuff that I do. So, that's one of the things that I needed. I just need something that was going to work. And I was able to get this great price. I was able to get it because typically the base model M1 Max Studio is about 2 grand. I was able to get this for about 15. So so far it's been great. The only thing has been trying to adjust to like utilizing Final Cut Pro, because I haven't really been a full-on Mac user. Like before, when I was working in IT, I would go between Mac and PC constantly, like daily. That was what I had to do. But because I haven't had a Mac computer personally, like I want to say in like 4, almost 5 years, there's a lot of things I've had to understand, like, or re-familiarize myself with, so I could, get back into the groove of things. So, I immediately had to go and put Premiere on here, because I'm like, yeah, I know Final Cut is better in many ways, but I know Premiere Pro, and I don't have the time to like try and figure it out when I need to get projects out, like that podcast I did with Sheree Buchanan from the talent show, and other things I've been working on. I'm like, I need to get this out now. So yeah, so this I know this is kind of a roundabout way to explain like why the episode hasn't been out. It's just because I've had to reconfigure everything and rework everything out, because I'm working with a new operating system, a new type of computer, and a lot of things, while similar, are different in many ways. So also having to get OBS up and running, trying to find a background blur, because it's messy here in my house because of my kids, my pets, and I don't want y'all to be able to always see that. So I'm like, oh, I got to get an XSplit VCam. Does that work on Mac? And then go from there. So it's been a process, and I'm happy that I'm back in the driver's seat and we can get back to getting the workout. But anyways, all that being aside, I want to talk to you guys about some of the news. Like last week, I didn't have much news to talk about because there wasn't much news to talk about. And the news that did come out, it came out on the weekend when I was busy and I couldn't get around to it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it today. So the agenda, we're gonna talk about the ASUS ROG Ally, which is interesting because I kind of got bone big with ASUS right now. But the ASUS ROG Ally might be coming out sooner than you think. You know, they've been teasing that a lot on social media. ETA Prime has done videos on it. Other content creators have done videos on it. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We're going to talk about that. I also want to talk about the new Proton 8, which is available for Steam Deck now, as well as, you know, Linux-based devices. And a couple other things. I'm trying to think. What else do I want to talk about that I haven't talked about? There's a couple things actually, but we're gonna get to it when we get to it. And then I want to talk about some of the controversy because you know, a lot of people didn't like my commentary on the last decked up episode I did. A lot of people called me a hater or jealous. And I thought that was interesting because I'm not any of that. I'm just like, you know, I'm just talking, you know, your boy's just talking. I'm just talking about things I'm seeing. And also, I think I upset people with my reaction to the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer because a lot of people were like blowing their load to that, saying that was the greatest thing ever. And I thought it was a good trailer. I also didn't think that trailer was that mind blowing. And honestly, I thought that that was a trailer that should have come out sooner. Or if they were going to drop it when they did, we should have had more story trailers, you know, over the last, you know, year and a half or 2 years since it's been officially revealed that they were working on a new Zelda game. So apparently people took that as I'm saying that was an awful trailer. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Nintendo has done better with Zelda trailers. And I'm saying this as someone who's been a fan of the Zelda series for the past 30 plus years. So it's amazing how people can greatly misinterpret things that you say, and they want to go in their own direction with it. But anyway, we're going to dive into all that and more. So, you know, if you're watching this in video format on YouTube, make sure you like it. So to the channel, if you haven't already, become a channel member for early exclusive access to content, or, you know, also support us on Patreon for the same things, different format, different platform. And if you're listening to it audio format, Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a rating and a review because that helps out the podcast, helps out with the algorithm. And also, if you're listening on Spotify, you got subscriptions and whatnot if you want to support. But whatever way you're ingesting or consuming this content, just, you know, share it around and give us feedback. Anyways, let's get into the first topic. First topic that I want to dive into is about the ASUS ROG Ally. So they've been teasing, ASUS on social media has been teasing that they are going to be releasing it fairly soon. How soon? We don't know. When they say soon, I don't know. And I don't think it's going to be this particular quarter. I think it's going to be maybe the next quarter, you know, quarter two, you know, probably starting around, well, actually, never mind. We are in quarter two. Never mind that. I'm thinking we're going to probably get this device maybe around June, July. That's what I'm thinking. If we get it in May, I'm fully capable of being incorrect on that. And, you know, I'll eat my words. But it is coming soon. So they say. We just don't know what soon is. And I think that's a great thing. Now, the other thing that they talked about is they've teased the pricing of it. So the pricing of this is supposed to be somewhere in the competitive range of the Steam Deck pricing. And if you guys remember, when I did my initial video on the ASUS ROG Ally, the first thing well, not the first thing, but one of the main points I said is it has to have competitive pricing to compete with the Steam Deck. And it's not going to completely compete with the Steam Deck because, you know, nobody is going to pretty much reach that price point of, you know, $399. You know, what company is going to sell the portable gaming PC that's going to compete at that price point? They're not. So the next best thing I said that they should do is have two models, and these two models need to be a 512 gig model and a 1 terabyte model. And if we do those two models, they need to be $650 and they need to be $899. It needs to be under $1,000. Those are the two prices I said in my video. And it's crazy because those are the two prices that, you know, the rumor mill is going around. Like ETA Prime talked about that and other folks talked about it. I'm like, yo, I was one of the first ones to say that. I probably was the first person to say that because those are the two prices that it needs to be if they're going to compete. And I definitely, if those are the prices, I'm going with the 1 terabyte. Like it's not even a question. I'm going with the 1 terabyte. I'll drop 900 on that, guaranteed. And a lot of people are, you know, again, it comes with the cult of personality around the Steam Deck. And I'll say this again, the Steam Deck, amazing device. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite devices for gaming of all time. You know, I'm not ever going to crap on the Steam Deck and be like, yo, ASUS ROG Allies here. I'm done with the deck. No, we're not doing that. I am going to forever be someone who's going to continue playing future iterations of the Steam Deck, because what Valve has been able to do with this is change the entire gaming landscape, especially showing up Nintendo. I know a lot of people a lot of people came to me on my last podcast saying like I'm paid by Nintendo, I'm a Nintendo shill, or I'm a Switch fanboy, all this, and I'm not. But they showed up Nintendo by showcasing the fact that you can make a device that can play AAA, current gen, previous generations, emulations, and more, all on one device, and have day-and-day release for AAA titles. You know, maybe you need to tinker around, but you could play that AAA game on your Steam Deck. You know, it really showcases where the Nintendo Switch needs to improve overall. And yeah, I guess a lot of my points, you know, and that's the thing with people is people don't try to listen. What people try to do is, or let me correct that. It's not that people don't try to listen. People don't try to comprehend what they're hearing, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to listen for points so that they can hop in and say something, because, you know, everyone wants their gotcha moment. You know, if you're familiar with Jordan Peterson, everyone wants that moment where they can just say like, ha, gotcha. And it's like, it's, if it organically happens, yeah, but when people are just constantly not hearing the point, and you know, the onus of that can also fall upon the person delivering the message, but at the same time, it's also the listener. If they're not really interpreting what is actually being said, then yeah, you're just trying to come at it for whatever reason you're trying to come at it. So in that case, like when people were misunderstanding what I was saying about the you know, the Steam Deck not really being a Switch killer, because a lot of people kept commenting that. That's when I got constantly called a Switch fanboy and paid by Nintendo shield and all that. And I'm like, you know what, whatever you want to say, if that makes you feel that way, fine. Is it a Switch killer? No, it is not a Switch killer. It is definitely a device that is going to push Nintendo to do more, but it's not at all a Switch killer. I mean, yes, this is sold over 3 million units as of this video. That's amazing. 3 million units worldwide. However, the Nintendo Switch here is in the hundreds of millions. And you're just not going to be able to catch up in the time frame that has been out. That has been out for going on 7 years now. This has been out for exactly a year. In many ways, it's just there. It's I don't know why we can't be okay with there being options and there being two different variations of something, like in the sense of this can cater to that market, this can cater to that market. They can coexist. I don't understand why people have this desire to be like, oh, this is a Switch killer, it's a Steam Deck killer. I mean, because that same rhetoric around the Switch killer of the Steam Deck being a Switch killer, everyone was trying to push that with the AOK Zoe A1 and the Ioneo and all those, like the Iron Odin and all these other different devices being the Steam Deck killer. It's the same stupid rhetoric. Let things coexist. They don't have to compete. And if they do compete, it's pretty much what controller do you want to use? What piece of plastic you want to pick up? How do you want to game? Let people game the way they want. Stop trying to make everything about being a killer of something else. Nintendo's doing their thing. More than likely, and I think this is very apparent with how much or how big of a release Tears of the Kingdom is for Nintendo. I think that's the final Zelda for the Switch in that scope, right? You might get a remake of what's the other game? Sorry, I didn't realize my daughter was tearing apart one of my headrests. But she's always doing something. Anyways, we might get a remake of A Link Between Worlds, or even a remake of A Link to the Past, or maybe both. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get a Zelda on the scope of Tears of the Kingdom for a while, because that's been in development for years, and I think they're not gonna. I don't see them doing that. I think that's the swan song Zelda title for the Switch, and I think at this point, if you look at console release cycles, usually every 7 or so years. It used to be less than that. It used to be 5 years, but 7 at the lower end, 10 at the greater end before we get a brand new console. And I think we're at that point. I do think the next Switch is going to be coming out within the next year, or it will be teased either towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, and come out the following end of the year, or within 2 years. We're at that point where it's like it's time. It needs to happen. So I think that's where we are with the uh the Switch. I think it's on its way out. But going back, I think that whatever the next Nintendo device, the Steam Deck is greatly going to be influential on it, and they're going to make it to where it can have day-and-day release of these AAA titles and be able to run. I think the architecture of the Steam Deck will allow that. So, again, every time these people will try to say, with the rhetoric of something being a killer, it doesn't need to be a killer. It can be something that can push companies to make something better. Now, the people in the comment section, they were constantly saying it's a Switch killer, or okay, so the phrasing would be, oh, this is a Switch killer, or this is a Switch killer for me. Okay, if it's for you, fine. But the Steam Deck can't run every single Switch game at full capability, like running flawlessly. A lot of games it can, not everything. And it's interesting. It is very interesting in how a lot of these companies like to, or a lot of these people, rather, not companies, a lot of these people like to phrase things certain ways. So I'm like, fine. If it can run it, fine. If it can't run it, it's not gonna. How many people are going back to that conversation of it being a Switch killer? yes, Steam Decks are readily available on Valve's website, right? But not being able to go into a store and easily buy it the way you can buy the Steam, the Nintendo Switch, the Switch Lite, Switch V2, PlayStation 5, which you can easily go in the store and buy that now. The Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Like, until you're able to do that, you're going to have a slower trajectory and it's not going to be eaten into the market of anything else. That is definitely something that is, going back to ASUS ROG Ally, is a major benefit on their side, because you can go, you'll be able to buy this exclusively in the US at the time when it initially comes out from Best Buy. And when you look at the marketing of it, this is something that it seems like is a combination, or collaboration between one, ASUS, a hardware manufacturer, then they're a software company. They're they're a hardware company. So ASUS, Microsoft themselves, because if you look at the branding, they're constantly talking of, they constantly not talking. They're showing the Windows 11 logo and Xbox Game Pass. So, and also Xbox, even Xbox is part of Microsoft. So this is a collaborated device. And then we've also heard rumors Microsoft wants to get in on this market, and they do great. So ultimately, thank Steam Deck for creating this market in a mainstream sense. They didn't create the market as a whole, but they created it being, massively popular in the mainstream. It's the first mainstream device to be able to do that. But anyways, it being available, readily available at Best Buy. You walk into Best Buy, order it on the website, same day pickup, whatever. It being readily available, that's already a major. It being priced competitively at the highest end. So if you can get 512 ASUS ROG Ally at the same price as the highest end Steam Deck, that's dope. And you can get a 1 terabyte for a couple hundred more, and it's still under $1,000. That is amazing. That makes that a Steam Deck competitor. Not completely, but more than any other that's out there. And I'm excited for that. When that comes in, I'm going to be all over it. I'm going to be using it, but I'm also going to be going back and forth between Steam Deck, ASUS ROG Ally. And it's just because I'm excited for it. Dual fans, running cool. Now, I'm not expecting this to have an amazing battery life. I'm expecting this to be pretty much on par, like any gaming laptop, the Steam Deck. You're going to be able to, major AAA games, low to medium settings, probably get like an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, older titles, 4 to 5, maybe 7, emulated games, way more. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it for a number of reasons outside of what I listed. The screen, 1080p screen, 120 hertz screen on top of that. Really looking forward to that. Ergonomics of it, I like it. I love the Steam Deck, but I love the size, the ergonomics of that as well. And just having Windows 11, I know it's going to run into its own issues. It's not properly as optimized as SteamOS, but that's still going to be, you're not going to have to go and do all these workarounds of trying to get different launchers to, configure them or need tutorials to get them working. It's Windows 11, just install it and there you go. That is also something that I look forward to. Now, do I think this is going to completely eat into the Steam Deck market? No. Is it going to be a Steam Deck killer? No. It's just another option. And when you compare that to all the other options on the market, such as the AOK Zoe, such as the Aya Neo, and all these, the GPD Win, this is definitely going to eat into their market, because you're offering one, it's also got that custom AMD chip, and everything else in it. it's going to eat into that market, and that is going to be astronomically cool to me, at least. Um, so that's going to force these other companies to start lowering their prices, because a lot of these other devices are 900 and up, and they've got so many different variations, and it's crazy. Like the ALK Zoe is still on Kickstarter, right? They already just announced two other new devices, and I'm like, didn't they just bring out the ALK Zoe A1? And that's kind of, I don't know. I just think overall this is a good thing. This is a very good thing that they're doing, and I'm really excited. uh it's, it's about time to freshen up the market. This is definitely going to freshen up the market, and I'm definitely excited to see what this is going. So that's going to be dope. That's going to be super dope when that comes out. You guys gonna see me. I'm gonna do an unboxing review. I'm gonna do various different things with it. Y'all let me know what y'all want to see me do with it. I'm gonna be all over it. But ASUS ROG Ally. The only thing is ASUS needs to have better customer support, and I don't think they're gonna be able to compete at all with Valve in that aspect. Especially when it comes to like warranty and all the other stuff, and support. I don't think they're going to be able to compete, but I think they're going to be able to do a hell of a lot better than any of these other companies making portable PC devices, portable gaming PCs. So that's my 2 cents on that. Where else do I want to go with that? I'm trying to think, because I had a topic and then I just went all in with it, and I'm like, what else do I want to talk about? So we got that, right? Other stuff that I've been doing. So I've been using, and I've finally gotten around to tinkering with more controllers. I do have the Razer Wolverine V2 Pro on the way. If it's not here today, then it will be here at some point this week. So I'm definitely gonna start using that. Full unboxing review video. Using it with the PlayStation 5. Also going to be using it with the Steam Deck. Comparing it to the DualSense Edge controller, as well as the Victrix Pro BFG, which I still love the Pro BFG, but the lack of communication from Victrix has been very astounding. I don't know why they're not really, I don't know, like they had the opportunity to have out their device before everyone else, and then they sent it to us creators. They got early access to it, and we had it for months, and then delayed it. And maybe that was due to a licensing thing with Sony. I don't know. But the lack of, selling additional modules for that, for the sticks. Okay, a lot of people have been reporting in my video, in the comment section, that they got stick drift. And I mean, I've had mine since last year. I haven't gotten stick drift. I think I've had mine for like, at this point, 5 or 6 months, and I haven't gotten any stick drift, but other people have had it, less than that, maybe 2 months, or a week, and got stick drift. And there's no additional modules, and the customer support for Victrix isn't that great. So I don't know what's going on with that. I know with the DualSense Edge, you can just buy replacement stick modules like that, and a lot of people have been crapping on it, and that leads to the topic of the Hall effect sensors, and everyone's like, "Oh, I want Hall effect sensors in this, I want Hall effect sensors in that," and I don't know why these companies don't use it, because the money is in purchasing either a whole replacement unit, or in a case of these modular features in these controllers, it's in buying replacement parts. So you can, with the DualSense Edge, pop off the top, pull out the two sticks, or pull out one or the other, buy the replacement, pop it in just like that. That is where the money is being made, on top of the base, install purchase. So That's why these companies are not going to be making a follow-up, like, or not a follow-up, but they're not going to be making their devices with Hall of Fame sensors. You know, you'll have certain ones that do that. Gilly Kit, obviously, 8-bit do, yes. But, you know, PDP, Vitrix, the same company, Power A, PlayStation, Razer, they're not going to do that. They're going to continue to use the optometer that they're using because it doesn't behoove them to put in that other functionality. So if you're wondering, there's your answer. But yeah, I'm excited to try out the Razer Stick. But what I have been using thus far with my Steam Deck is I've been using and this controller is actually pretty amazing. I've been using this, which is the Retro Fighters Defender wireless gamepad. This has been absolutely splendid with my Steam Deck. Now, this is the one that has the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. There's also a completely wireless Bluetooth module, but for some reason I can't get that to fully pair to my Steam Deck, and it kind of frustrates me because if I could get that to fully pair, that would be the controller I'm using. What I love about this controller is how comfortable it is. Like, I've got big hands. So, it sits in my hand comfortably. I like the feeling of the triggers, the buttons feel good. The only thing, and this is not just an issue with, this controller or controllers from Retro Fighters, but a lot of companies, the one area that they just don't get completely correct is D-pads. And I say that is I play a lot of fighting games, like you guys know. I play a lot of fighting games. So the only one that has gotten a D-pad correct has been Power A and PDP slash Vitrix. And they're perfect for fighting games, for 2D platformers and such. This is great when I play 3D games or like old retro 3D games that use like tank controls and such like that. No issues with it. But when I'm playing Street Fighter, or if I'm playing not so much Street Fighter is more forgiving input. I'm playing King of Fighters, right? I'm an SNK guy. So playing King of Fighters with this controller, I don't get the best input or responses. Like, I'm playing Kyo Kusanagi. You guys know how he plays. He's got Rekka inputs, for his Rekka punches, or, basically constant motion punch, motion kick, or, any those type of input variations, or from Terry Bogard or Ryo Sakazaki or Kim Kop-Wan. There's various things that I want to do that I can't do because, it just doesn't register all the inputs correctly. And that's just that. But aside from that, using it with various Steam Deck games, it registers as oddly, on the Steam Deck, it registers as an Xbox 360 controller. I don't know why. Same thing when I use it on my PC, it registers as a 360 controller and not as a PlayStation controller. But regardless of that, it still works perfectly fine. I've had absolutely no issues with it. Now, Retro Fighters does have a Xbox variation based off of the OG Xbox, the not the Duke controller, but the Duke S, the smaller variation. So they got that coming out, and I'm pretty excited to try that out with the Steam Deck, mainly because Xbox layout and input. So I'm excited to try that, and that should be coming in very soon because they always tend to hook me up every time they get something new. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this controller. It's been very cool, especially for retro games, modern games, everything except for SNK fighters. It's been great for. And so I say all that to say I'm excited to try more controllers with the Steam Deck, to find what is the perfect solution, primarily for me. And if you guys find something out of that could, work to your benefit as well. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to when that Razer controller comes in, because the micro switches on that, I like, the closest I can say like other Razer controllers. So this is one Razer sent to my wife. This is the Rachel Termy edition. Terrible D-pad for fighting games, but it works. I like Razer controllers. I know a lot of people say they don't like the form and layout and all that. I like Razer controllers. And it's kind of crazy because you can't buy this readily available, especially in the US. But they sent this to her for review, and I'm glad she did it. I like this controller. I got the mobile variation on that controller as well, and I like it. So with this one, I'm excited for this one to come in. I can't wait to use it. But anyways, moving on to the next topic. I think I kind of somewhat addressed the criticism in the last podcast in the comment section. People talking about the hater. If it wasn't me being a hater, then or jealous of other student content creators, like, oh, you're jealous and da da da. You need to provide receipts. First off, I don't have to provide receipts for anything. If and I say that because you folks don't ask your favorite Steam Deck content creators in general for receipts on anything. They make a video, and you flock to it. People have culture personality. People do what they do. I'm not jealous of any other creators that are out there. I don't care. It's interesting how just openly talking about something, the first thing people want to do is call you a hater. They want to call you a hater without giving you the benefit of listening to what you're saying. And it kind of goes back to what I said before about people don't listen, to hear what you're actually saying. They're listening for a point where they can jump in and go, ha, I got you. Me talking about clickbait, and you see it all the time. You see it not just with Steam Deck creators. You see this with I saw clickbait when it came to this Mac Studio. Like people saying, don't buy it, because they got to put the M2 chip in the next Mac Studio. You need to wait for the next Mac Studio to come out. And I'm just like, everyone does that. You see it in gaming. You see how people took that Zelda trailer and have made 30-minute videos, a 4-minute trailer, done a 30-minute analysis, an hour, 2-hour, whole discussions about it. Some even clickbaiting about it. Why do people clickbait? And I've explained this before. Clickbaiting is done to get people to watch your content. That's all it's meant to do. And why people get so defensive, they want to white knight these creators who don't care about them. It's amazing to me. Is that a bad thing to say that they don't care? No, I mean, you're putting they care enough if you're supporting them, but in the grand scope of things, it is what it is. So I don't know. People took that how they took it, and they felt how they felt, and it is what it is, but I'm not taking it back anything I said, because I've been in this long enough. These Steam Deck YouTubers and creators have hopped in within the last year and a half. I've been in this game for 8 years almost, and I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot, been through a lot. And that doesn't make me a hater. It just makes me someone who's just open. I'm willing to openly talk about it. And if you're quick to shut down conversation because it doesn't jive with you, or because you think it doesn't happen, here's the thing. You can think something isn't a thing, but just because you think that doesn't mean that that's true. There's a lot of shit you don't know or you're not aware of that happens every single day, every single moment, but you're not aware of it. And it's just interesting. Like the discourse on that. And the same thing with the folks calling me same thing with the folks saying that I am a Nintendo shill, or shill, because of the Steam Deck, or not saying it's not a Switch killer. You know, people are they say what they say, and I'll just say this again, covering her ears. I don't give a flying about your opinion at all. If you want to come at me saying that, I don't care. It doesn't. I don't lose sleep over it. I'm not friends with any of these folks who make content. And the few that I am friends with, as I said last week, I don't watch other people who do gaming or tech content anymore, because a lot of them, either I've gotten to know them and they're not what you see. Like they always tell you, don't meet your heroes, or folks you look up to, or folks you may admire, and a lot of them are like that. You know, and I think a lot of people fail to realize is the person you see in videos or on TV or on your smartphone, or how people present. Everyone puts on a face to an extent, you know. And if you can't realize that, I don't know what to tell you. But everything isn't as you think it is. people people put on faces. People pretend to be a certain way. You think people who do these overhyped, hot, constant, high energy, tweaking out type of videos, you think they're like that all day, every day? They're not. They do that because you click on it, because you follow it, you're into it. There's folks that do clickbait around games like this. Is one dude, I'm not gonna say his name, but like he does a bunch of clickbait. He always has the big fun. How could they? They should have done this. They let us down. Like it's always on the left side, at a slanted angle of the thumbnail. And he rides topics into the ground. And then admitted on Twitter, this dude was like covering all his Resident Evil 4 stuff, constantly making videos about Resident Evil 4. And when it came down to streaming and playing the game, admitted that he hadn't even realistically, he's barely played the game, but he's made like 40 some fucking videos on Resident Evil 4 and hasn't even played it. So it's just one of those things. Like, I see it. I've been in this long enough to know what it is, and I don't engage with it. So that's all I gotta say on that. Take it how you want. If you hear what I'm saying, cool. If you don't hear what I'm saying, I don't get it at all. It's what it is. I think that's just about everything. I think one other thing I do want to bring up, as far as gaming, I haven't been as consistent with doing this, and it's really because of this one right here. Look at this one. My daughter. I haven't been doing gameplay showcases. So basically, gameplay showcases is where like I capture footage of me, like first 10, 20, 30 minutes of playing a game. And it's a variety of stuff. Um, yeah, variety of games that I played. And I need to get more consistent with it. I have recorded a lot of footage. A lot of footage got lost, but there's a lot of things that it's a form of coverage, and a lot of people are like, how come like you don't have more edited gameplay? Why is it just pure gameplay? I know those videos don't do very well, but a lot of these games, when I get keys for them, or review keys or review codes. I don't have the time for every title that I get a code for to give a full in-depth review in written or video format. But what I can do is give, a preview of the gameplay without my commentary. Maybe you guys want commentary. I don't know. But, I have this 2-year-old, my 2-year-old. I have my other kids as well. I also, you know, I do a lot of other work. So game journalism, tech journalism. I do this podcast, 3 others. Uh, I'm trying to work back in live streaming. So my time is so constrained that I have to prioritize certain things over the other. Like right now, I'm trying to bring back up the Casanova podcast. I'm trying to get that back to the prominence it once had. It's not the number one podcast in Hawaii that it once was, and it's fallen off because I just haven't had the time to dive into it as much as I wanted to over the last 6-7 months. So yeah, when you're doing content, you really have to figure out what is more important, what's working, and some things that are not working, you just got to let go. So yeah, bring that back to the previews. I do them. No, I'll do 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes tops. So you can see what the game is like, how it starts off, how it plays, all this and that, and then go from there. If I get the opportunity to go back and follow up on it, I will. If I don't, I don't. It just is what it is. So that's what I want to bring up to you guys. And then as far as like what I'm playing now, what you should expect coming in the future, I do have Star Wars Jedi. I can't even think of the title. I've got that. I'm working on a review for that currently. I'm also working on a review for Dead Island 2. Is it Dead Island 2? I forget the name of it. It's just there's so much I'm working on. But that review should be coming out shortly. Working on Tears of the Kingdom, which contrary to what people may think, I do have a review copy of it early and from Nintendo. I am working on a review for that currently. And also I will be diving back into Final Fantasy 14. Because that's something that I've desperately wanted to get back into for the last year, but it was something because it's such a time sink of a game and having a toddler who constantly wants your attention. Even now, as I'm recording this, she wants my attention. That's the game I want to get back into, and it's just been very difficult having a toddler doing that. And it is just one of those things where it's like, yeah, even with this podcast, like I could have waited till my wife got home and recorded it, but this podcast pays a lot of the bills, puts food on the table, gets her diapers closed, pays for the insurance and everything like that. Just podcast does very well. It's sponsored by Spotify, you know. Um, so I have to get the things out. So certain things just get priority over others. That's also what I'm trying to say. And last thing I want to say is like things that I'm playing outside of looking for content. I've been on a retro kick lately. So I've been diving back through. I'm playing through Parasite Eve 1 and 2. Been playing Vagrant Story. And I've also been diving in and playing a lot of Sega CD titles, Sega Saturn games, so like Panzer Dragoons 1, 2, and Saga. Been playing Popful Mail and Final Fight CD. And since I've gotten 3DS emulation working really well on this, I've been playing Live Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D. So enjoying that. And also Um, what else have I been playing? I have been playing Sea of Stars demo over on my Switch, and trying to get back into speedrunning Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, as well as the original 2 and 3, and trying to work on strategies for speedrunning Resident Evil 4 without using the glitches, which they're more than likely going to patch out those glitches. So that's as far as like gaming. Been doing that. And then I've been reading through Resident Evil, oh no, not Resident Evil. Rurouni Kenshin. I've been reading the Hokkaido arc, been really enjoying that so far. So when I get time, usually when she's sleeping, I'll start reading to catch up on manga and um working on more guests for the podcast that my wife and I do, Podcasts Across Worlds. So we recently had Lexi Naito, who voices Tomo Aizawa from Tomo-chan as a girl. And we're going to be having Richard Epcar, Dorothy Fawn, Mona Marshall. I'm thinking we're also, who else we got lined up? Those are who we currently have lined up. Griffin Burns as well. And possibly David Hayter when he comes back from, out of country. Might be able to get him to come back on the show. He's on my main show, but this will be the first time he'll come on this. And then Mark Whitten, you guys know he does Rengoku and Demon Slayer and such. So it's just so much going on. That's why I like when I say like I don't care when people like get all in their feelings. Like I don't care. I don't have time. I don't have time to care. That's all I'm saying. But all that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I touched on everything I wanted to touch on. I don't even think I touched on the Proton 8. But it's nice. If you haven't tried it, try it out. I can probably follow up on that more on the next episode come Friday. But yeah, y'all enjoyed it. If you're watching the video format on YouTube, make sure you like the video. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Share it around. Become a channel member. Support on Patreon. Or if you're looking at the video on Spotify, because Spotify has video podcasts as well. If you're enjoying it there, then definitely let us know. Leave a rating. Interact with the polls that we put up. And let's get the ball rolling. If you're listening to it on any of the major podcast outlets, which the number one outlet that you guys are listening to this show on is Apple Podcasts. So if you're liking it, please, 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 please leave a rating, leave a review, because it definitely helps out the algorithm. Same thing if you're listening to it on Spotify, favorite it or save it, share it around, and just give us feedback on all the outlets that we're on. All that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. We do have merch available now. So if you want to get merch for Decked Up, we have t-shirts, phone cases, all this other stuff available on Teespring, or what is it called now? It's not Teespring anymore. It's just Spring. So it's available. Link for that will be in the description down below. And if you want to pick up some of that, definitely. If you want to pick up some games, I've got links to everything down below, for various key outlets. You can get, anywhere from up to 75% off, and at the lower end, anywhere from like 18 or so % off. And so, if you pick up a game, you get the discount. I get a little kickback. It helps out the channel. If you want merch, well, not merch, if you want, any accessories for your deck or gaming accessories as a whole, we got affiliate links for Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop and such. And anything you purchase definitely helps out overall. So all that being said, I'm signing out. She's ready to eat and go. And I gotta get back to what I need to get to. Other things I gotta do for work. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Hopefully y'all have some good takeaways from this. And if we didn't, I don't know what to tell you. But it's been good. I catch y'all on the next one. Stay safe, be blessed, have aloha, and I'll see you around. Peace.